How's it going, everybody? Bryan Alvarez here on Wrestling Observer Live. We are here every day, Monday through Friday, noon Pacific, 3 Eastern, Sundays, 3 Pacific, 6 Eastern. It is Friday here on this show. You know what that means. We got a lot to get into today, as always. It is Friday Night SmackDown here tonight. We got like 3 weeks left until WrestleMania, and we still got to put together some matches, including whatever we're doing with this tag team title match, which I think y'all know what we're doing for this tag team title match. Jey Uso will be appearing on the show tonight after turning on Sami Zayn on Monday's Raw. We have Braun Strowman and Ricochet versus the Viking Raiders at a number one contenders fatal five-way. The winner of this match gets Gunther's Intercontinental Championship match at WrestleMania. We have Drew McIntyre, Sheamus, Xavier Woods, L.A. Knight, because you cannot have an L.A. WrestleMania without L.A. Knight, I hear. Karrion Kross. And, of course, Xavier Woods is replacing Kofi Kingston. It was reported in the New Observer newsletter that Kofi is going to be out about 5 weeks. They did that angle last week where Drew McIntyre did a flip dive, and pretty much the only guy that caught him was poor Kofi. And then he landed on Kofi's leg, and now Kofi is going to be out. And thankfully, nothing snapped, broke, anything like that. But 5 weeks, won't need surgery, but he will be missing WrestleMania. So Xavier has vowed to win this match and go on to WrestleMania. So we got that. We got notes on the Elite and their contracts, AEW Dynamite and Roadblock ratings. John Cena heading to the Nightmare Factory. A bunch of other AEW notes as well, including a lineup for Friday, and plenty more. So stick around. Mike Sempervive will join us after the break. If you want text, of course, 425-780-7566 is the phone number. That is 425-780-7566. Back in a moment, Observer Live. Back in the show, Bryan Alvarez here, Wrestling Observer Live. Mike Sempervive, also of WrestlingObserver.com. Man, I always look. What's the chat talking about here today? What should we focus on? We're talking about daylight savings time.
Sucks.
What do you mean it sucks? I'm so happy that we're switching back on Sunday night. Or
Look,
Saturday.
man,
It's
I'm
actually
tired of
Saturday
this
night.
whole... I'm tired of gaining an hour of sleep just so it can get dark at 4 o'clock in the afternoon, for heaven's sakes. Just get it over with. I don't think the farmers need this anymore. I don't know who needs this anymore. Just set it back, leave it alone, and that's that.
Well, we're setting it back on Saturday. You should be thrilled. You should be overjoyed. We get an hour more of daylight later on in the day. That's great.
I'm happy about that, but I'm tired of this whole rigmarole we have to go through. When
Well,
we're
yes,
already
we
going
should not
into
have
a
this.
slow winter malaise.
This should be done.
Exactly.
We should switch it on Saturday and not worry about it again.
Actually,
okay?
it's Sunday, 2 o'clock in the morning.
It's Saturday.
Eastern time.
You
Where
nerds
all
on
of
the East Coast.
civilization in America is.
You don't run this place.
Yeah, we do.
Nah. You
Yeah,
know
we
in
do.
Hawaii it's Saturday.
Oh yeah, but that's
Why
Hawaii.
is the East Coast more important than Hawaii? It's not.
If I was in Hawaii, I would say that, but you know.
Fact of the matter is, we switched the clocks late Saturday night. It's going to be awesome. Get more sun. Everything's great. We'll stop being so damn pale. The weather, boom, like that, just turns around here in Seattle. It's going to be awesome.
Please, I wish.
AEW is working on signing the Elite to new long-term contracts before they hit free agency. All three men, founding members of AEW, hold executive vice president roles, which to this day I don't even know what that means, but they have them. January,
It
Meltzer
means health
said
insurance, buddy. That's what that means.
AEW is interested in re-signing Matt and Nick to new deals, but the process is yet to begin. Late February, he reported, this is Dave, Omega's contract, set to expire at the end of January, was extended by an unknown amount of time due to the 8 months he missed due to injury. Well, it is an unknown length of time, but if I had to wager a guess, it would be 8 months. But I don't know. I mean, isn't that how it works? If you had time due to injury, it's the time you were out due to injury. But anyway.
I don't think you can negotiate that.
All three were suspended following the post-all-out fight. So I guess we'll see where everybody ends up going. I mean, you'd have to ask them. But, you know, the thing with the Young Bucks in particular, as a tag team, I do think, here's the thing with and they wrote about this in their book. The Young Bucks really like and respect and had a good time dealing with Triple H, Paul Levesque, okay? But at the time, Paul was not in charge, and you know how Vince was with tag teams. So, you know, the easy decision was to go to AEW. And now here we are, and it's 2023. And here's the thing that we all know, okay? If there's one thing we know for sure about WWE, is we don't know what's going on, okay? So, do you remember when all those guys wanted out because of Vince, and then Triple H showed up and they all wanted back? Well, now we don't. Triple H could be gone tomorrow. Triple H could be gone after WrestleMania. I mean, yeah, Vince showed up to visit with John Cena, and then just happened to sit at Gorilla all night. I mean, I think we all know. The dude could be back fully in charge literally at any time. Maybe he will, maybe he won't. We don't know. But, you know, if I were the Bucks and I was a tag team and I had young children and I was making a lot of money and I had to work one day a week, bro, this is an easy decision for me. I'd rather stay with AEW. Kenny Omega? I don't know. He's a single. You know, even when Vince was in charge, Cody Rhodes walked in to a main event. He walked in as a main eventer. He's main eventing WrestleMania. And, you know, if Vince hadn't left, all the same thing was going to happen. I mean, he was still going to main event WrestleMania. He was still going to be a giant star. So, you know, Kenny Omega, he probably has the opportunity to walk in and be a top guy and make a tremendous amount of money. So, you know, I don't know what everyone's going to decide. If I had to wager a guess, because people have been asking me all these different things, like, where do you think this guy's going? Where do you think that guy's going? Let me make this abundantly clear before you write stories. I have no inside information But if you ask me what I think, which is different from what I know, what I think is the Young Bucks would prefer to stay with AEW. Kenny Omega, I would say it's 50-50. And Jay White, I believe, is going to WWE. This is all what I think, but it's not what I know. So we'll see what happens. But that's the update on the negotiations.
I'm sure everybody will listen to exactly what you said and not say that you reported all of that stuff. There's just, to me, there's too many moving parts here, because if you're Kenny Omega and you're thinking, okay, you know what? I'm out of here in 5 years. There are other things I want to do in my life. There are other adventures that I want to take. I'm going to be done with the wrestling business. You know what? Maybe I do go up there and take a shot. You know, Young Bucks, same way, if they're at the end. And but there are so many things tied in. You have family members of the Young Bucks who work for AEW. Will that affect anything on paper? Usually it doesn't, but things happen when relationships and families and things like that are at work. So will that have anything to do with it? Does Japan have any impact when it comes to Kenny Omega? Because if I recall correctly, and Brian, correct me if I'm wrong here, but when the Young Bucks and Kenny Omega were being talked to by WWE, there was this talk about there was a part-time role, or it was going to be limited dates, and they were going to get some things that maybe others had not gotten before. And I could be wrong about that, but like Kenny Omega, if he wants to go to Japan, he's not really going to be able to do that for WWE unless there's something in there that says, hey, you can go off and do these things. So to me, who knows? I don't know these men well enough to know exactly what's going on in their minds and in their lives, where for a lot of people, they may look at WWE's The Evil Empire, but a lot of people may look at it as one last paycheck as well, too. And again, even with it, does Saudi Arabia have anything to do with that? If you have a moral compass, or you have thoughts on something, does who owns the company play a part into that? So who knows, who knows what any of these guys are going to do, but I can guarantee you it's going to be bantered about online until they do.
And listen, even though we got folks here in the chat that are certain of things, do not be certain that WWE would not put something in Kenny Omega's clause that would allow him to do some New Japan shows, okay? Yeah. If Vince were in charge, no chance, okay? But with Triple H in charge, it's happened. Okay?
Well, here's the thing,
we
Brian,
saw it with Carl Anderson. We saw it with Shinsuke Nakamura. Like, they let it happen. And people told me it ain't going to happen. Carl's not going back. They told me he's not. Well, he did. And they let him do that, and they let Nakamura do that, and perhaps they would let Kenny Omega do that. Perhaps they wouldn't. But you cannot say no chance.
Well, and that's, it's who Vince would ever, because I believe it did happen one time under Vince. Did Nakamura not make a trip over there for some reason? I thought somebody had. But again, with this, I don't know. I don't know. We can get into the weeds on this way too much when it comes to just bantering about, where these men may speculatively go. But honestly, I'm with you. I think both of them stay there. Both sides of that stay there. And I think Jay White, even though it drives a lot of people nuts who do not want to see him go there, he's going to go to WWE. And if you remember, Finn Balor and AJ Styles did not have poor debuts, and it's not like they were not in the world title picture right off the bat. Finn Balor won the first Universal title at WrestleMania, if I remember correctly, before he got hurt. So I think sometimes, too, there's a concern with some of these guys that they're going to go over there, just be buried and die. And I don't think that's the case. Not necessarily the case in all cases.
Okay, head to a break, everybody. I got more news.
Thank God. Holy crap.
I got more news coming up after the break.
I'm dying here.
Yeah, I let you...
Where's the music?
I let you die.
Thanks, like your hair.
What? Back in a moment, Observer Live.
All right, so here we go. Question number 1. What is something outside of wrestling that you are a big fan of?
Soccer. I love watching. I've been watching soccer. Well, I started soccer when I was 3, so I was like 15, 16. And that's also like my mom, she made sure that I grew up with women's soccer. So like women leaders, women like motivational people and stuff like that. So I watch soccer a lot.
Question number 2, what is something besides wrestling that you're really good at?
Maybe like being on my phone. I'm really good at that.
don't blame
Sleeping. I can sleep in most places. Okay.
Question number 3, what is your favorite TV show or movie?
Ooh, movie The Last Song, and then it's old but a good one.
Yeah.
And show right now I'm really into Dynasty. It's like a reboot. Have you seen it?
I've heard of it, but I haven't seen it. But I did watch The Last Song, cried my eyes out to it.
Yes, me too. Yeah, so Dynasty is definitely one of those.
Awesome. And question number 4, who are your favorite singers or bands?
Rebelde. Do you watch?
Oh my gosh, they were so popular back in the day, and I heard they're making a comeback.
I'm going to every single concert in Texas, by the way. Yes, I'm so excited. I need to get my uniform ready.
Question number 5, favorite places that you have traveled to and places you want to travel to.
Ooh, I love Cali. And I'm not just saying that because I'm here. Like, I really do love Cali. There's, like, a lot to do here.
Question number 6, who is your biggest inspiration?
I feel like there's, like, multiple people. There's not, like, just one person. But I know growing up, like, Alex Morgan, she's, like, a soccer player. She was, like, one of my inspirations. Trish Stratus is, like, the reason I got into wrestling. And I was, like, 5 years old. Like, that's who I would watch all the time. And the Four Horsewomen, of course, AJ Lee, you know, those are definitely like my top ones.
Number 7, what's the craziest thing that you've ever done?
I feel like wrestling's pretty crazy, honestly.
Question number 8, favorite Mexican candy?
Mazapanes, I'm like obsessed with those, but the ones that are like covered in chocolate.
Ooh,
Yeah.
Favorite Mexican dish?
So hard.
No.
I'm gonna go with chilaquiles. Have you tried them?
Girl, are you kidding me? Chilaquiles are my life. When you said mazapanes, I was like, yep, she knows what's up. Then you said chilaquiles, and I'm like, I get them everywhere with beans and eggs.
Yes. Oh my God, it's so good. And sometimes I add chicken in there too.
Yes. Oh my God.
Okay, now I'm hungry. Now I'm hungry.
Question number 10, last one. What makes you happiest?
When others are happy.
Nice.
Yeah. I know that's so cheesy, but when others are happy, I'm just like, it just brings like this emotion in me. And it's ever since I was younger too, like in Christmas, I didn't care what I got. Like as long as like people around me were happy with what they got, that's just what mattered to me.
Back in the show, Bryan Alvarez here, Wrestling Observer Live. Mike Sempervive, also of WrestlingObserver.com. Hey, anyone here live in Indiana? Nearby? Well,
God, no.
I did a long interview today with Amir Abbas of ABC 21 News in Indiana, and I believe I will be on all of the evening newscasts tonight.
Oh, a sting.
Talking about the WWE gambling gimmick they're trying to get going. So check it out tonight if you are in the Indiana. I think it's like an area, right?
The Kentuckiana area?
Indiana-ish, yeah, Texarkana.
Wait,
yeah.
wait, where is channel, what is this station?
ABC 21 News in Indiana.
ABC 21.
And you know, in fact, on top of that, I did for your
Fort
viewing.
Wayne. Fort Buddy Wayne, Indiana.
For your viewing pleasure, I did wear the same shirt that I wore when I impersonated Vince McMahon.
Oh, God, did you have it hanging open, too?
Because, of course I did.
Oh, Jesus.
You think I have a tie?
No, I just,
Let me
you
tell
have
you
a
something.
button, though, that you never use anymore. Look at what you got on now.
I used to be
Some gold chains and taco
fat,
meat. Look at that.
for lack of a better term.
Oh, no, you were not. Fat.
5'6" and 195, dude. That's pretty heavy.
Well.
So anyway, I had a lot of suits that if you watch, we did a Brian and Vinny show a little while ago, and I decided to wear a suit, and I looked like I was wearing my, not even my dad, I looked like I was wearing Craig's suit. I was just swimming in the thing. And I was like, none of this fits me anymore. And so I got rid of all my dress clothes, every single one of them, okay? And then it turned out that old Sean, from the Brian and Vinny and Craig and Sean and Granny and 85 other people show, he was getting married. So I needed a suit. And so I bought a suit, jacket, pants, shoes, and a shirt. I have one. And so I wore that shirt today for my interview. Looking sharp.
You gonna hold on to it now, or just wax the car with it at this point?
All right. We got more news here. We got ratings. So the Dynamite follow-up to the pay-per-view, 858,000 viewers, which was up 3% from last week. It was the second highest total in the last month. 18 to 49, fourth on cable with a .29, which was the second highest 18 to 49 of the last 4 weeks. And not a fantastic number in any way. And you know what the issue was with this rating? Was it opened at just under 1 million. It was like 980 or 960 or something like that. And the first 45 minutes of the show, it stayed there. It was like just barely under 1 million. And then, man, that thing fell off a cliff over the next hour. Over the next hour, that show lost 225,000 viewers.
Yikes.
And then grew a little bit for the Powerhouse Hobbs Wardlow main event. But, we've mentioned this, countless times. It seems that this audience is all about the matches. And they watched for about 45 minutes, probably some of them wanting to see what happened at the pay-per-view, get some fallout. And then I think they just saw the rest of the show and were like, no big matches I want to see. And a lot of them tuned out. Now, 225,000, they still maintained, a large portion of their audience. But every wrestling promotion, whether it's AEW, whether it's Raw, SmackDown, NXT, whatever, TNA, they all have a core audience, okay? And then you have the people on top of that core audience that they are going to decide if they're going to watch or not watch based on whatever it's going to be, okay? And, the AEW core audience seems to be about 750,000 people or so. Raw seems to be about, outside of football season, probably, 1.6 million. During football season, probably about 1.3. SmackDown's got the best core audience. I mean, that thing is stable. And, different people, whenever people try to analyze this too much, like, why did the people tune out? Why didn't they tune out? At the end of the day, we don't know, okay? I don't know why those 225,000 people tuned out that hour, but they did. And, probably was the lineup for the show, the announced lineup. So we'll see what happens on Rampage and next week. I mean, next week, I don't know when they're going to put that three-way trios title match, but that match is right up this audience's alley. So that at least should do a very, very good number, and then we'll see what they do for the rest of the show. They have announced more. We have got the triple trios title match, House of Black versus Jericho Appreciation Society versus The Elite. We have the MJF re-bar mitzvah, and he usually does good numbers. We've got Orange Cassidy, Jeff Jarrett for the international title. And then we've got Hangman, Stu Grayson, and Evil Uno versus Moxley, Claudio, and Wheeler Yuta, which is interesting because, Stu Grayson back here, obviously, for this match. And, Moxley and Hangman, two giant stars. But they are in a 6-person match. So it'll be interesting to see how this audience reacts to that, because you do have two big stars going head-to-head, but also with other people in the match. So that is the lineup for the Dynamite show. And then everybody's favorite show, NXT. Roadblock, 624,000 viewers, up 12%, second highest audience since New Year's Evil. 13th on cable, 0.17, which is actually a really good demo number for them. 0.17, up 30.8% from last week, up in every single category. And year to year, they were up 1.8% in overall viewers and 30.8% in 18 to 49. So, folks were into that Roadblock show. So good for them.
I'm looking at the quarter hours here for Dynamite. If I'm not mistaken, Orange Cassidy and Jay Lethal have gotten, when they have been together, whatever it's been, they have gotten very good ratings.
Yeah,
and
that's a hot match every time.
Yeah, and I'm looking, and the amazing thing here is one thing that always gets pointed out for those people that really hate AEW, they'll take that quarter 1 to quarter 2 number and then just bash them for it. And it's like, look, the lead-in is one thing, and then, it always goes down almost no matter what. They made it and only lost 1,000 people. In fact, it's really, statistically, it's less than that, I guess, going up until 8:30. And the decline after that, as you mentioned, was very slow until the end. So I don't know if also it could have been fatigue. People did look at it and go, I'm not interested. I am interested, but I'll check in a couple days. I stayed up till midnight watching the pay-per-view, a couple days ago. Whatever it is, NBA game, whatever it happened to be, that first hour, especially that first half hour, is really good. So whatever the Elite and the Young Bucks decide to do in the three-way and all that stuff, just say that Orange Cassidy and Jay Lethal are going to be a part of it, and maybe people will tune in.
Well, I don't think we're going to add those to that match, but they have done very well every time that they have had a match together.
They should just have them fight throughout. Like, they could be going at it and just, brawl right through. Like it was Hacksaw Duggan and Harley Race at the Slammy Awards. Just chaos going on.
Well, we also have on that Dynamite show Jade Cargill with an open challenge to anybody from Canada. And the only AEW contracted female star from Canada, contracted doesn't sound right. Contracted is the Bunny, who was out due to injury. I don't know when she's going to be back. But the New Observer noted that Taya Valkyrie could soon be joining AEW or WWE. She is finished up with Impact, is not committed to MLW for a long time, so I don't know if MLW would have to allow it or what, but it could be Taya Valkyrie as the surprise for
She finished up with
Jade
AAA.
Cargill.
That was noted that she finished up with AAA. She wouldn't be going back there. So she's going to one of the two major companies, and I would just think if I were her, and again, everybody's situation is different in what they're in, but when she was Frankie Monet, I mean, it was a nice start on NXT. She had a cute little dog and everything, and it looked like, hey, they're going to do something with her. And then she was basically immediately cut. So.
Well, if you remember the timing, I mean, they were going to do something with her, and then Vince and Kevin Dunn and the crew took over. So, there's another one. People are going, why would she ever go back? Why would she ever go back? Well, because the person who was pushing her is in charge right now. Now, will he be in charge in a week? I don't know. Yeah. But you got to take this stuff into account, everybody. Because, in fact, there's another guy in charge right now.
For now, at least.
People find that hard to believe, but it's true.
Hey, look, if she's willing to give up Mexico, I don't know how often she goes over to Europe. I don't think she goes to Japan really at all. So it's like, if she's this, this is going to be it. She's looking for money and she's looking for some stability. Either company would probably be good. I mean, the women, look, with all things being even, if Vince is not involved, I would probably tell her, go to WWE and see what you could do there. But again, there's all those question marks, and there is a hole to punch through in AEW. It's just a matter of anybody besides Britt Baker and Jamie Hayter actually doing it. We're seeing what's going to happen now with Toni Storm and now with Ruby Soho, but there is a hole to punch through there to be a star in the women's division.
John Cena showed up at the Nightmare Factory, paid a visit to Cody and QT. Maybe he talked QT into helping Hobbs get that big win. Posted a photo of Cena with members of the school's 9th training camp. Cena spoke to the class ahead of their showcase event for March 23rd, and they referred to him as the GOAT. Back in a moment, Observer Live.
About the atmosphere and what it's like.
It's amazing. It's another company like full of women who are so supportive of each other. The locker room's great as well. I was brought in by AJ, who like growing up, like she was one of those people that looked like me, like Hispanic. She was like smaller than the rest of the girls. So that was like very motivational. So for her to like bring me in a wow, and she's like my mother there. She gives like the best advice, and like I can always like message her and be like, hey, like what did you think about this match? Like, how did I do? And she's amazing. When they say like never meet your idols, because you might be disappointed, with her it was like the opposite. Like she was so nice, and all the girls are amazing too. I think now that they have this contract with like CBS, it's like bigger and it's better. I feel like these seasons are like the best ones yet, so I'm excited for like everyone to watch it. I want to say the biggest advice she's given me, and I think this is just like in life in general, like the energy you put out is the energy you will receive. So always like be nice to others, and like I think that's just what I apply in everything. So that's kind of what I learned from her. It helped out a lot, especially because I was so new and I didn't really know how to work cameras or how TV worked, and to be in that environment and also learn from, like, they have so many legends back there that you can like ask, and they're so helpful. Shout out to Jerry Lynn, Dustin Rhodes, like those two like are incredible. They're so helpful with the talents, and I am so grateful that I've met them. But yeah, so being able to learn from them, and also like learning from like your mistakes, like watching yourself back and how you can like improve like on TV and stuff like that, it honestly helped me out a lot, especially my career too, because I feel like I got a lot of bookings from that. So shout out to AEW Dark. Ooh, I would love to say Serena Deeb. She's so knowledgeable. She's so good in the ring. And even I had a one-on-one with her outside of AEW, and she's amazing. It was like a clinic, literally, like learning from her. Like being in the ring from her was like a clinic, honestly.
Yes.
I didn't get to tell Becky this, but I wrote her like a DM like before I started training. It's like a long DM, like how like she inspired me and everything. And at the end, I was like, one day I will wrestle for WWE. So after my match with Tamina, she came up to me and hugged me and was like, "That you did really good." And I cried, like I bawled, and she's like, "Yeah, let it out." Like she was so nice, and I just could not talk, honestly. I was like so like overwhelmed with the match itself, and then like her coming up to me, and like the girls were so nice, like Nikki Cross, like Bianca, like everyone was so nice. So I'm so grateful for that opportunity, honestly. Like that is probably like the best moment of my career, because that's what I've been wanting to do since I was 5, and the fact that I got to do that, it was incredible.
Back here on the show, Bryan Alvarez here, Wrestling Observer Live. Mike Sempervive, also of WrestlingObserver.com, and you, the loyal Friday listeners. 844-913-2727 is the phone number. That is 844-913-2727.
DJ, I'm sorry in the chat. If I would have come through a little bit better today, had a couple more hot takes, this may not be happening right now.
Bro, after the hot take, after that first segment, I knew calls had to take place today.
It did. You know, I'm blaming the chat right now. I'm blaming them, but you know what? I need to blame myself, and I apologize for that.
Well, you know, you can text us, too, 425-780-7566. You can also email me, Bryan at WrestlingObserver.com, or you can get a Cameo, F4W Online, on Cameo. I don't know what that had to do with anything.
Accent? If you're asked, will you do accents? Will you do impressions?
I always do accents. First here says, guess Tony Khan was right about Orange Cassidy and Jay Lethal. Yeah, he was. They moved them numbers, those two guys. Do you think Jade's opponent on Wednesday could be the debut of Taya Valkyrie? Well, yeah. Now, I don't know if she's going to beat her, but I do believe that she could debut. And you know what? I don't know if they've ever done the deal. Has AEW ever done the deal where somebody debuted and won a title in their first ever match? Like WWE has done that many times.
No, usually they beat somebody debuting in their first
That's
match.
NXT as well, yes.
Hey, look, I don't know what kind of ringleader Taya Valkyrie is. I've never been in the ring with her, and I don't know what kind of teacher she could be, but I'll say this. If you want to go in there, beat Jade, and then have Jade kind of chase her, and the more they can work together, it would not be the worst idea in the world. I mean, the thing that Jade needs is reps and to work with people who are is better than she is. And there's not a ton of people like that there. And Frankie Monet / Taya Valkyrie could be one of those people.
First here says, has access disappeared? They haven't said a word for this year. Same with the Hall of Fame. I don't know if there's going to be an access because it seems like they should have announced it by now. But there should be a Hall of Fame announcement coming literally at any time. Could be today. Could be Monday, could be this weekend, but I think I have the impression we're going to get a Hall of Fame announcement very, very soon. This person here asking about neck beards. The neck beard insult, this person says, has been around for a bit. It's insulting a guy for the inability to grow anything but a neck beard, like someone is born with facial bald spots. I used to have one of those. The hair wouldn't grow in a certain area on my face.
On the mustache right there, you couldn't do the full...
I can't do the big mustache. It just doesn't work, but... yeah, neck beard. I was really thinking about Ruby Soho's promo, and she called those fans neck beards. And I've heard, obviously, that insult many times about wrestling fans. But it really got me thinking, like, you grow a beard on your neck, and so you're like an idiot?
But is that what it means, though? Does it mean that, or does it just mean, like, you're fat and unkempt and, like, you just... Like, I never took it as you can only grow hair on your neck. I never thought of it that way. I thought it was just, like, you see somebody and they're just unshaven and they don't have any of this done because...
Like, you grow all of your beard, but if you don't trim right here, you're a neck beard, and that's like some sort of insult?
Well, if you don't...
I don't get the neck beard thing. I get smelly, if you call the fans smelly.
There's a lot of those.
Because there definitely are smelly fans.
Uh-huh.
And if you call them, like, peanut-brained hadrosaurs, I got that one.
A lot of those.
But a neck beard. Especially, too, because, after once that pandemic hit, nobody left home anymore. I mean, people started going to all these Zoom meetings every year. You're wearing your sweatpants and you're not dressing up. So it's not about being unkempt. Like, everyone's unkempt nowadays. I want to know why neck beard is an insult. That's what I want to know.
I'm not wearing pants right now, Brian. Never do.
Well, you can thank Mike for this call, everybody. Let's go to Dagan, actually. The guy who complains all the time. Now, let's hear what this important call is, Dagan.
Hey, what's going on, guys? Hey, look, you haven't taken phone calls in like a year, so I had to get in on this. I just was curious what you guys think. I was bringing this up in the chat earlier, back to the conversation about these free agents that could potentially sign with WWE. If you were them, put yourself in their shoes for a second. Do you think the decision to sell the company at all impacts potentially, where they might go? Because, like, there's a good chance that Saudi Arabia, I hate to tell you all, could potentially be their new boss by the end of the year. So why don't I just bring that up and see what you guys think? But, hey, thanks for opening up the phone lines, guys. It's been a while. I love hearing your voices.
You hear my voice every day, whether I open the phones or not. What are you talking about, Dagan? What he's really trying to say is it's great to hear my own voice. That's what he's saying. How do I drop this? I've been taking calls so long, I don't know how to use this thing anymore. Hey, listen, Dagan, everybody. Obviously, you got to take all that into account. You have to take everything into account. I mean, I don't know what the hell's going on. I mean, if I'm Kenny Omega, do you guys realize that Kenny Omega had like 9 surgeries or some crazy number a year ago? I don't know how long that guy's going to be, able to keep doing this. So I don't know. I don't know anything. What is he being offered? Maybe AEW offers him $1 million, and then WWE offers him $5 million. I'm just throwing out numbers. It's unlikely, but maybe they offer him $100 million. Who knows? He may be at the point in his career where it's like, I need to make as much money as I possibly can for 3 years, and then I'm out of here. Okay. So then, well, you'd probably go to WWE because they could probably offer you more money. And, the Young Bucks, they got kids. Maybe they've got enough money. I don't know. I don't know what they do with their money. Maybe they've got enough and a few more years in AEW and they can retire and they get all this time with their little kids who are like, 7, 8, whatever. They got to take that into consideration. Maybe they want to be owned by a company. And we don't even know who's going to buy him. It probably is going to be Saudi Arabia. We don't know. We don't know anything. So you got to make a decision in a short period of time if your deal's coming up, and you got to weigh all those things. And it's never just one thing. It's a bunch of things, and everyone's different, so I don't know. I don't know.
Let's be blunt too at this point, because now we know that there were NDAs, and we know some of the things that Vince has settled about rape and has been accused of, and all of this other stuff that is taking place, including using his powers against a talent, an actual talent that he had a relationship with and then demoted and then ultimately released. Is Saudi Arabia as a, yes, terrible human rights record, this, that, and the other. But then, flip side, okay, then is Vince McMahon, if you're going to work for Vince? Yeah. So, yeah, I mean, I don't know. Look, everybody is owned in most cases by somebody bigger, or there's going to be somebody that they're in business with that you have a moral problem with. But I mean, right now, you can make that case for anybody going to sign with WWE, and just because Vince is in charge, and now we know for a fact what has come out and what has been done, and, you know, are you going to go take money from that guy? You know, does anybody jump on Daniel Bryan for saying he always, you know, had a good relationship with Vince and that he was close to Vince and all that sort of stuff? No, you know, because that's how it works sometimes. It's terrible that way, but again, we'll have to see what happens here, but I think when it comes to Saudi Arabia, some of the talk about will media do business with them and all that other stuff, I think is, I don't know. I think people are trying to do a little bit too much with it, because it comes down to many cases with the dollar and with Live Golf that people talk about, oh, well, you know, nobody wants to be negotiating with them or in business with them. Look at how powerful the PGA is and how entrenched they are in boardrooms and in that culture. Before, you know, it's not just about the fact that we're not doing business with Saudi Arabia. It's because you're doing bigger business with somebody else.
The guy here said it doesn't matter who buys. Of course it matters who buys. It always matters who buys. The buyer always matters. The buyer is going to matter in terms of you know, what they do with WWE. Is Vince going to be back in creative? Is he not going to be back in creative? And it also matters to the wrestlers. We already have Pat McAfee, who pretty much posted, I don't know what my future is because, you know, I don't know who's going to buy this thing. If you've got screw you money, then if you don't want to go because Saudi buys them, you ain't going to go. It does matter. If you don't have that kind of money, then I don't know what to tell you. Sami Zayn. You don't think it matters who buys it in the case of one of their biggest stars right now? Think again. It does matter, okay? Well, but I don't know who's going to buy it.
Well, and if you have Syrian roots or Syrian people in your family, or you are part of a culture that is bumping head up with the kingdom, then yeah, it is probably going to make a big decision there and change your mind on things, which is one of the reasons why it's nice to have options. For as much as people don't like AEW in some cases or some of the other companies that are out there, that's why they're very important.
Person here says, so Jade is facing a Canadian. Why not LuFisto or Nicole Matthews? Well, it could be anybody, okay? Well, not anybody.
Well,
but yeah, she challenged a Canadian. What is that noise?
Yep, everybody, this is a Friday program.
Dude, the video computer's all of a sudden making a lot of noise.
It's trying to kill this show.
Wow. Let's see. I heard Chris Hero made an appearance at West Coast Pro this past Saturday in a commissioner role. Is Chris Hero wrestling at all? He hasn't wrestled since March of 2020. Does he have a career-ending injury? Any idea? I don't know. I have absolutely no idea. I don't know what his deal is. But yeah, he's there in a commissioner role now.
Good. It's a good company anyway. He's a smart guy. I'm sure he does things, podcasts and everything. Everybody has one. But he's one of those guys that's just and I mean this in the best way, he's a great wrestling nerd. You know, he knows history. He's watched a lot of wrestling, can talk about a bunch of different territories. You know he could work. I mean, his team with Claudio was fantastic. And, you know, unfortunately, because of his weight issues in the eyes of some people, he wasn't, you know, whatever it is, you know, he didn't look good enough for TV, wasn't cosmetically pleasing enough or whatever it was, you know, didn't get some of the shots that maybe he should have had. And that's disappointing, but I'm happy he's still hanging on in wrestling.
Person here says, Mike in Fort Wayne. You can watch my appearance tonight. Mike in Fort Wayne on the ABC News affiliate. Is there any chance WWE can save Bray, or is it too late? Well, it's never too late. I mean, you can always try, but what are they even doing with Bray? They brought him back. They did the White Rabbit stuff. Bloke never wrestles. He's had, what, one match? He had
Good.
one match? Rarely on television.
It's fine.
It's like...
It's fine. I got a better question for you. What about Alexa? What happened to her? At least Bray's got a match coming up.
Don't get started.
And look, and here's the thing,
too. She's just at Disney.
What would you
That's
rather
all.
have? Bray Wyatt on TV every single week wrestling in a match and all this nonsense, or just what we're doing right now and saving him for big events and one-offs and things like that?
I mean...
Your option is not none of him.
Well,
okay.
I'm not saying the guy should be fired, but, I mean, here's the question. What can he do? That's the question. Can he wrestle regularly or not? I mean, don't they still have WWE films? Can't he go make some horror movie? Him and Alexa?
No.
Let them go make movies or whatever.
They had to get rid of that, but I mean,
They did?
and all that stuff.
Did they get rid of WWE films?
Yeah, they shuttered that.
Did they?
Lost a bunch.
Is that true? Well, I know they did. Actually, you know what? Some of them were doing all right. Like, they weren't losing a ton. They weren't making a lot, but...
Well, they had that one, too, with Randy Orton about the amateur wrestling thing when they actually had, like, Randy, showed some sensitivity and things like... And nobody watched that movie whatsoever, but I guess what was the one that actually made money? See No Evil was the one, right? That was the big one.
Why is Norwegian Cruise Lines calling me?
I don't know.
God.
Maybe they're upset with, bashing the Marine for all those years. They liked that movie.
Back in a moment, everybody. Observer Live.
I mean, I've been a fan of boxing for a long time. Never did I ever think about boxing personally, but I was at Creator Clash 1. Nathan Barnett, a.k.a. Dad, was the first fight of Creator Clash 1, and he asked me to be in his corner. And at the time, I didn't realize how big the event was going to be, but I was excited to watch him fight in his first fight. And when I went and saw like how well he did and how excited everyone was, like all the influencers that fought on Creator Clash 1 had a really good time, and the crowd had a great time. And when iDubbbz, Ian, and Anissa were booking Creator Clash 2, putting it together, I think they were looking for someone to fight Harley from Epic Mealtime, who won his first fight in Creator Clash 1. And since we'd met, they just asked me if I'd be willing to fight. And I said, yeah. I actually said, yeah, but I don't want to fight Harley because we're friends. And then he said he would fight me. And then I was like, well, if he wants to fight me, then sure, I guess we can fight.
You can't back down now. If he said yes, you kind of got to say yes too, right?
He said, like, I was like, bro, I don't know if we should fight each other. And then he's like, might be too epic, bro. And I was like, what? The Epic Mealtime just texted me epic? Okay. So that's kind of how it all came together. And now April 15th, in about 2 months, we're going to punch each other until one of us can't stand up.
Do you feel you have added pressure where like you can't lose?
Yeah. I mean, there's that, but then there's also my wife who said, like, if I lose, expect to get knocked out twice on April 15th because she's going to knock me out for losing.
Stop it. Stop it. That's amazing and terrifying at the same time.
Joking, but not.
Okay, so how are you? Are you nervous? Are you excited? Are you anxious? What are the emotions?
Do all those things. It's like similar to a wrestling match, like but I haven't had 4,000 boxing fights like I have wrestling matches. This is gonna be the first time that I've boxed. I training with Josh Barnett, who's obviously a former UFC champion, MMA legend. And when I asked him to train me, he just said, sure, John, I'll train you, but just so you know, boxing is your worst thing. And I was like, well, he's not wrong. I was like, yeah, Josh, I know it's my worst thing. That's why I need you to train me. And I've gotten a lot better. I still have a long way to go, but it's been really fun, not just learning a new skill, but like being kind of under the gun and like being forced to learn. And I mean, I forced myself by putting pressure on myself by taking this fight, which I feel like is kind of a fun thing to have, like this crazy like goal, and is this date hanging over my head, which makes me extra motivated to train every day.
That was my personal cruise consultant calling.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't know I had a personal cruise consultant. And they addressed me by their own first name, whatever it was.
Are you serious?
Hello, Brian. This is so-and-so, your personal cruise consultant. I'm like, what? So anyway, guess they want to talk.
Well,
I'm not going to call them back.
you got it like that.
I guess so. Unbeknownst to me.
Or they just want money. See,
Got
that
it
was
like
the,
that.
That was the problem with going on that Jericho cruise. See, now they're just going to blow you up nonstop. You're on a mailing list. They got you.
Apparently I'm on a calling list. Hey, those phone calls weren't so bad, were they, everybody? It was exactly one guy. No one else.
It was Dagan.
It was Dagan.
Everybody likes Dagan.
This person says, of course, this is from a few days ago. Of course, this Twitch chat comes after me. I'm referring to the week before the pay-per-view. Did Dynamite really need a 2 varied Battle Royals ladder match right before the pay-per-view? Then we come back the night after the show with a no DQ match. Then there's a huge match next week, as you mentioned. It's Chris in Vegas.
Well, we should have gotten into that a little bit because he does make some points.
He does make some good points.
He does. He does. And they do some things that they don't follow up on. They do a lot of goofy things like, themed nights and theme matches and all that.
Dwayne? Anyway, Chris, text me Monday and maybe we can talk about this here on the show. I'd be happy to. I didn't dox the guy. I don't know his last name. I didn't even tell you what cruise line. Did I? Maybe I did. I made the name up anyway. His name was not Dwayne. It was a female. Anyway, we're out of time, everybody. I got to get going. I got a lot to do here. I got to call my personal cruise consultant back and do some other stuff. So anyway, we'll talk to you next time. Wrestling Observer Live.